Welcome to the Activations with JJ March 2023 Energy Update. In this episode, we'll be talking about the themes of permanent Kundalini energy, empowering the quantum parts of our body, and remembering past lives and collapsing timelines in order to bring healing and activation to our current timeline. There are some really interesting themes coming up this month, and I cannot wait to dive right in with you. Hello, my friends. Happy March already. I have to admit, March crept up on me. I don't know if it crept up on you. And the interesting thing about March is I've been tapping into March since December, and so have some of my intuitive friends. We've been talking a lot about how we feel that March is going to hold some very powerful shifts and energies for us. And so here we are. I don't know if that feels foreboding or exciting to you, but hopefully some of these themes will clear stuff up. I actually want to encourage you and remind you that one of my personal themes that I want to bring out for the entire year of 2023 is to step into your own power and seek out your own information every month, your own energy themes every month. I, of course, am sharing with you those which have been on my mind and which I have received information about from my guides. But there are absolutely several others that you will tap into, and other intuitives as well. Not only do I encourage you to receive your own information, but I also encourage you to listen to other people's energy updates so that you can get the whole variety and then pick and choose using your discernment. What you need will be brought to you. What you need, you will manifest as far as information to help you prepare for this month. So again, that's just a little reminder, something that I don't want to forget to say here at the very beginning of the episode. Moving into the topics for this episode, we're going to start out with something that I did not receive as a cognitive, conscious mind download. This is simply something that I've been feeling in my body, and I didn't even think of it as a theme. What happened is, as I was preparing for this episode, I was obviously asking my guides, okay, help me think of what I should talk about. Most of the time I do this when I'm either right about to fall asleep or in the wee hours of the morning before I wake up. That's when I get all my downloads. I don't actually have, a lot of people might wonder this, I don't have a dedicated time to meditate, seated like that. I usually get my meditation in as I'm laying down in those 2 times that I mentioned, right before I go to bed and right before I wake up. I get a lot of stuff at those times too. Lots and lots of information comes through. And just like you, I have been asking for and opening myself to receive additional light body activations, additional upgrades, if that's how you want to see it. And I do that for a variety of reasons. One, as I prepare to have different offerings coming through, I know that I'm receiving upgrades in order to better provide those offerings. In other words, for instance, I am co-creating the Priestess Portal Soul Template activations. Those start right here in the middle of March. And I know that certain activations I've been receiving, personally, me, are introducing me to energies and calibrating me to energies that I'll be bringing through for those who are in the portal. And one of those just so happens to be what I feel is a very grounded, rooted Kundalini energy. This often starts in the root chakra and moves up the body, but also involves a lot of the sacral energy. And the way that I've been feeling it inside of me feels almost like ecstatic, orgasmic energy. And I do not say that lightly. I really am not kidding you. That's what it feels like. And I'm sure that most of you listening to this podcast have felt that in some way, shape, or form in the past and know what I'm talking about. But here's what Spirit dropped in. Spirit said, a lot of people talk about Kundalini activation as a moment in time. And they said, we are calibrating you and preparing you to be in that energy all of the time, to be in that energy and to sit in that energy and to act from that energy. And this is part of sitting in your I am presence And before, I never thought of that way. I actually thought of the I am presence as more of a rooted, grounded place. It is not feeling that way. It is feeling like a pleasant buzzing in my body, taking me literally feeling like a state of ecstasy, but I'm still able to do my regular daily duties in that vibration. Whereas normally when you're going through some of those energies, it literally overcomes your entire body and you can't really function on any or focus on anything else, right? Okay, so it's a permanent sense of the Kundalini ecstatic energy. That's one of the best ways I can describe it. That is an undercurrent for everything that you do. And I'm going to be apologizing here because I cannot describe it accurately. And so as I was trying to figure out how to talk about it in here, this is the best I could do. I can't even, it's so new to me that I'm like, I don't even know where to start with it. But all I'm doing with these themes for March is putting them on your radar. It's up to you to take and dive straight into that and figure out what it has to do with you in your life. So again, there that is. Have fun with that. It feels amazing. And I never thought that it would be a permanent state of being. And they talk about samadhi, they talk about all of those things. I know that this is a theme and I'm not the first one to bring it up, but it's like really truly experiencing it and really truly having it be accessible to me. That's a whole other thing. So that's theme number 1. Okay, theme number 2 is empowering the quantum parts of our body. I talked about this last month, how the theme of the quantum realm of our body is coming up, working with, and this is something, again, lots of people have brought this up to me when they see me talking about, they're like, oh, that's Joe Dispenza. Yes, it is. Absolutely. He's amazing at doing that. I would definitely dive into all his work. What came to me personally, though, was the idea of empowering the quantum parts of our body. And I will tell you why. I'm going to share a little story with you. I was in a session and we went to the Akashic Records. And before we went to the Akashic Records, this is what happened. It's so fascinating how sometimes people's guides will be so detailed with the calibration that we do before we go to the records. So this is a calibration, again, a preparation to go to the records. This was not in the records. All we did was they showed me 2 parts of her body. They showed me more her physical part and more her soul part, and they were actually doing calibration and work on both simultaneously, but they sort of separated them. And normally when I do calibration and work like that, I will call in the fairies, the Arcturians. Those are my 2 go-to. There's Star Family, angelics, or anybody that is a being of light that is willing to help their body. This is not what happened this time, and it was a big lesson for me. This time, I saw her body working on itself. And Spirit said, do you see how her body is absolutely capable of doing these attunements? It has everything inside it needed to do these attunements. The specific parts of her body that were being attuned were her DNA and her brain. And I just kept hearing the word dendrites. I saw the dendrites, actually, and that's what Spirit showed me. I saw, and probably different than the dendrites too, but I know I at least saw dendrites. And I saw these little tiny beings, these little things with their little tentacles working and welding her DNA. Yes, that's what I said. It looked like they were welding together parts of the DNA. And again, I saw a lot of it was a lot of electrical energy that they were working with. But the big picture, the main point that Spirit wanted me to bring out was that if we empower those parts of our body that are capable of doing this, then we have everything inside us that we need to activate our light bodies. Now, sometimes we bring in help, but the main idea is that you don't have to. because it's all inside you. So I want you to think about that. I'm actually hoping and planning on doing some guided meditations around these themes. I really feel like I want to provide you with resources that will help you go into a state that facilitates your connection with these parts of you. I literally saw in my mind's eye you sitting and meditating and activating a little solar plexus in all the parts of your body. It's like each cell had a solar plexus and you're like, okay, we're going to activate you. You can do what you need to. It's like they all knew what they needed to do. It's like we just needed to set them free to do it. Seriously. So, pretty incredible. All right, we're going to shift into the third theme. This one's a big one. I'm going to talk about this one for a little bit here. This one is remembering past lives and collapsing or merging timelines in order to receive healing and activation. Now, I'm going to tell you another story. It actually came through in the same session as the one I just told. So really interesting. I opened myself up to whatever needed to happen in that session, and this is what came through. And by the way, I do have permission from this person to share these stories. I just want to make sure I tell you that. So for this one, what happened was this person at the very beginning of the session was talking about how they'd had a hard time with relationships. They really hadn't pursued any relationships, hadn't felt drawn to do any relationships. And sometimes when I'm working with somebody in that position, I feel like there may be like a block with the heart or some kind of healing that needs to be done, past life trauma, present life trauma. But in this case, we actually walked through to a past life where she was in a very loving relationship. And it was very simple. All Spirit had us do was allow her to feel what it was like to hold hands. And she was holding hands with a romantic partner and also with a child. It was all about touch and allowing herself to be touched. And what came to me was that it was much easier to awaken a memory of something that she wanted to experience in this life than to bring in something new. And then Spirit said, yes, you've got it. That's exactly why you're feeling drawn to open up space and room to facilitate people remembering past lives. Because, and by the way, this has to do with the fact that I opened my multidimensional soul integration cohort for March. I actually wasn't planning on doing it. I'll be completely honest. I was so busy. If you've heard me on my last podcast, I'm doing several different offerings through the months of March, April, May, and even into June. And I was like, okay, I do not have time to do multidimensional soul integration. And Spirit said, it's extremely important for you to do this. You have to understand why. It has to do with the fact that one, remembering past lives is a faster way to activate and heal than a lot of other things that are being done. Not only that, but as you collapse the timelines and merge the timelines, which is what I did in February, then that is also another way to do that. That is also, it's this quantum leaping stuff. It's going at an exponentially faster rate than we ever have before. They're basically introducing all these new modalities so that we're going faster and farther in shorter amounts of time. And I know this is how. So those are, again, a couple of the themes that are coming through. Now, of course, I have my multidimensional soul integration course coming up, and that is a group setting with some one-on-ones integrated into it. I only have a certain amount of spots in there, and so as I'm telling you about this, I don't want you to get frustrated if, one, it's not in alignment for you or it's not going to work out for you. Maybe some of you it does, maybe some of you it doesn't. Just because you can't do JJ's multidimensional soul integration doesn't mean you can't experience all of this. There are a lot of past life regression experiences that people have put out as meditations on the internet. I have my timeline merging guided meditation. You can listen to that once a week and experience something different every single time. So whatever way you choose to remember past lives and to bring in this energy, it's going to work for you. It's all about your intention. You are a sovereign being that has the power to do all of this. You don't need to look outside yourself for any of it. It's okay to gather. It's okay to look outside yourself for resources, but come from a place of empowerment where you are able to remember that you have everything it takes to carry out this healing work and this activation work. All right? Promise me you'll do that. Okay, those again are the 3 themes that I personally tapped into for March. Reminding you, it's now time, after you're done listening to this podcast episode, go into meditation. Bring through what comes in for you. Share that with me in the comment section if you're listening on YouTube. Or even send me an email. I promise I will read it, but don't send me a DM. Instagram is getting a little interesting. If you follow me on Instagram, just remember I will never reach out to you for a reading. That's something that's been coming up a lot lately. There's sort of these copycat accounts that come in and they tell you that they want to do a reading. That's never me. I'm just going to give you that as a public service announcement right now. Okay, we are ready to head in to the part of the episode where I'm going to share with you a little bit about what I'm offering for the month of March, just so that you can get a feel for what's coming in for me. I talked a little bit about this in my 222 update, and so you can also listen to more about that. But it's interesting because what happened was, as I was dropping in these themes for March, I realized that several of them are connected to these offerings that I'm doing. So the first one is the Priestess Portal. That is coming up very, very soon. It's a very high vibrational container that I co-create with my friend Amron, who is the co-author of the Priestess Transmissions. This is an interesting offering because as we were co-creating, Spirit said to me 2 really fascinating things. One, you will have more people attending this in spirit form than you will in bodies. So let's just say there's 50 people in bodies that enroll into this portal. There are going to be hundreds and even thousands that aren't in bodies. So if you come in this portal, you're going to learn what it's like to co-create with lots of people without bodies, lots of souls that are also interested in receiving the activations we bring through there. Something else I want to point out that came through as I was channeling information in preparation for the course was that a lot of people who enroll in this one are going to be very connected to angelic realms, and they're going to be way up in the angelic realm vibrations. It is time for them to come down and to ground into some of the more like the dark feminine or the void or the cosmic womb energy, which again, we tend to see this as duality, but it's all one. This happens a lot in sessions where I'll have somebody who I feel is way high up in the way high up ethers, and Spirit's like, we've got to get you grounded. So they'll bring us into a beautiful, deep energy really within their being. And that's what we're exploring is the inner temple. The inner temple is where we're going. So for those of you who've been way up and high, flying high in all the different places in the galaxy, and you feel like it's time to come into yourself, this offering is for you. Not only this one, but I'm actually doing another offering that is for men and women. The Priestess Portal is just for people who identify as women. This other one that is called Sacred Initiation Journey is for anyone really wanting to dive into that inner temple energy. This is where I feel that really potent Kundalini permanent activation energy is going to come through. If there were any offering I had that aligned totally with that, it's this one. We are going to go very deep into our creator, creatrix energies. And for me, that is Kundalini energy. And we are going to explore receiving activations from Isis, Hathor, and Green Tara. And that one is also being offered during March, April, and May. It's a longer length offering. Some of the shorter length offerings that I have include my Wizard Activation Workshop. And this one is only for men. But this one I feel like aligns with all of the themes that I brought through, in particular, remembering past lives. I feel like during this workshop, which is going to occur on 2 Sundays during March, it's a 3-hour total workshop, so 1.5 hours one Sunday, 1.5 hours the next Sunday. We're going to dive into the energies of Ra, Thoth, Merlin, ancient indigenous shaman energy. And then a new one that came through for me just the other day, and Spirit was like, he wants to join your wizard workshop, is Archimedes. I was studying sacred geometry and Archimedes came up. So those are the energies we're going to be dipping into for that. I know you're going to start remembering past lives, and I know I'll be taking you through some group past life regressions in that. Speaking of past life regressions, I already mentioned this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. My multidimensional soul integration, which is coming up in March and is a container of 20 people. And guess what else? Not only will we be escorting 20 people through the process of personally experiencing multidimensional soul integration, but for those of you who have already gone through multidimensional soul integration as a receiver, you will qualify to be able to step into an apprenticeship to become a practitioner and be trained on how to do multidimensional soul integration. I've been talking about this for a really long time, and Spirit keeps nudging me, because I truly feel like my capacity is not allowing me to do as much as I would like to. And I feel like this is absolutely a modality for this year. Like if there's a modality for this year that's going to stand out more than any others, it's multidimensional soul integration. It's past life regression on steroids. That's the best way. It's past life regression for the 5D, 100%. And that is why I have really felt drawn to create this offering. If you're interested in the apprenticeship, I will be allowing people to participate as an apprentice on a very limited basis if they have done my multidimensional soul integration, or if they were already a QHHT or BQH practitioner. So look down below, you can sign up, you can apply to begin training in that. As for other virtual offerings, I have all of my regular monthly gatherings, including my Atlantean Golden Age gathering, which is happening on March 5th, this coming Sunday. And we finally launched our 5D Business Activation virtual course. We already did it live, but we're now allowing people to enroll and take that course as a pre-recorded offering. The link to sign up for that is below. I know a lot of people have been asking about it. It was just so magical. So many incredible things came through. I mean, the Arcturians channeled information about the finance system. The Andromedans came through and talked to us as light workers about how we're co-creating the 5D business grid for Gaia. I mean, so much came through. I can't even tell you. I don't even have time because I'm at the end of the podcast. Now, I'm using the word end of the podcast a little bit loosely because, sorry, I have my in-person events coming up on the East Coast, and I just want to make sure that I drop in and remind you I will be in Connecticut on March 17th and 18th and Manhattan on the 19th. I want to send out a call to anyone in the New York area. What we will be doing in Manhattan is a little different than I've ever done before. This is a gathering of grid workers. We are going to be doing energetic grid work right there in the heart of the city that Spirit has asked us and our galactic family and the elementals. There's something about the core of that place that's an energetic center for Gaia, I believe. It's actually really an energetic center for the collective. I'll probably channel more information about what we're going to be doing in that. But I really, truly want to send out that call. So if you or anyone you know is a grid worker, a light worker, and can get to the city, it's on a Sunday, it's on the 19th, come into the city and gather with me. I know we are going to be doing some powerful work. Last time I went there, I actually ended up in Central Park and was doing grid work with another light worker friend, and it was so, so fun. That's what I feel like we're going to be doing, in addition to you receiving activation and all kinds of starseed connections and channeled messages and all fun things like that. We're going to be doing grid work first and foremost. So if you need to know the details about anything that I mentioned, all of the links are below. If you've lasted this long, thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I am extremely grateful to you for all of your co-creation. Any way, shape, or form that you co-create, whether you just like and subscribe, or you come to a gathering, or we see each other in a one-on-one, or you come in person, all of it is an absolute joy to me. So many beautiful souls I've connected with since I started doing activations with JJ. I want to make sure I send you lots and lots of love as we head into March and remind you of my favorite saying, I am you, and you are me, and we are we.